Hi, I'm Michelle Begue with a look at what's happening in Latin America now. But first, our news trivia. A town in which Latin American country recently voted against the exploration methods at a local gold mine? We'll have the answer later. Hurricane Fiona ripped through Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic at the start of this week. The Category 1 storm intensified into a Category 3 as it moved into the DR, causing catastrophic flooding, unleashing landslides, and knocking out 90% of Puerto Rico's power. At least 3 people reportedly lost their lives in Puerto Rico. In the Dominican Republic, sustained winds of 144 kilometers per hour left considerable damage, according to the country's president. 3 eastern provinces were declared disaster zones. And another natural disaster, this time in Mexico. A powerful 7.7 magnitude earthquake killed 2 people on Monday. Officials say more than 150 buildings were damaged on what was also the anniversary of 2 other devastating quakes, the first in 1985 and the other in 2017. Mexico's President Manuel López Obrador said, quote, "We were lucky that the death toll this time around was not higher." And check out these volunteers in Ecuador trying to save mangroves. Using wooden rafts, volunteers drill in red mangrove seeds and then release them into the waters of Guayaquil. The Guayaquil estuary has been polluted by rubbish, excrement, and heavy metals. Between May 2019 and July 2022, people have collected more than 34,000 tons of waste in the area. The volunteers of this project are helping repopulate the mangroves, which are important storers of carbon emissions. And now let's go to my colleague Joel Richards in Argentina, who has an update on Vice President Cristina Fernández de Kirchner's corruption trial.
Argentina's former president Cristina Fernández de Kirchner stands accused of forming an illicit association and of fraudulent administration. This is for the awarding of public works contracts in the Patagonian province of Santa Cruz during her presidency between the years 2008 and 2015. Prosecutors want a 12-year jail sentence and a lifelong ban for Kirchner from holding public office. Now, Kirchner says this is an attack on her political legacy and her political future. This week we've heard the closing statements from the defence. Kirchner's lawyers say the prosecutors lied and point to factual errors in their case. Now, Cristina Fernández de Kirchner sharply divides public opinion in Argentina, but the context of the trial has now shifted dramatically after the attempted assassination of the vice president earlier this month. Police have made several arrests related to the attempted murder, suggesting it was not the act of a lone wolf, but rather something much more complex. The investigation continues. A verdict in the corruption trial is not expected until late this year at the earliest.
Now let's take a look at the stories we're following for next week. First, El Salvador's President Nayib Bukele announced this week that he will run for re-election in 2024. Critics say the country's constitution bans consecutive terms in office, but last year the Constitutional Court ruled that Bukele could run for re-election. Reactions are mixed. Activists say the move indicates a deeper descent into authoritarianism, but the former mayor of San Salvador brushes off the criticism and calls attention to his 91% approval rating from a Sid Gallup poll. Second, Uruguay made history in 2013 by being the first country in the world to legalize and regulate the production of cannabis. But according to a recent study published by the Institute for the Regulation and Control of Cannabis, only 27% of consumers acquire the drug legally. The consumers say this happens for 2 reasons: an insufficient supply from the state and the low THC content in pharmacy-grade cannabis. THC is the compound in marijuana that produces the high effect. And now the answer to our news trivia. The answer is C. The people of Asunción Mita in Guatemala's border with El Salvador recently voted to ban the development plan of a mining company. The Canadian company called Bluestone Resources wants to change its method of mining at the Cerro Blanco gold mine from an underground operation to an open pit method. The new method requires the use of poisonous chemical cyanide, which has caused alarm for environmental groups. More than 8,500 people voted in the referendum and 88% voted against the mining project. However, the Canadian company says the vote was illegal and its results are unlikely to be enforced. And that's it for this week. We'll see you again soon on Latin America Now.